I'm Ariel Azor, host of Right This Way, and today we're going to talk about a couple different things. If you're like me, you're probably stuck in your house, either all alone. Hopefully you don't live alone because that would be incredibly boring. Hopefully you've got some family, some friends, roommates that you live with or something like that, but you're probably stuck in your house and you probably have been all week. So hopefully we're going to do a little bit to curb your boredom and give you a little something else to do, maybe give you a laugh. I'm super tired of hearing about coronavirus. I mean, it is the only thing on the news. The media is more concerned about coronavirus than they are about bashing Trump, which is really, I think, monumental. Something we should definitely put in the history books. But at the end of the day, as great as that is, it's super annoying because the only thing we can hear about now is coronavirus instead of how bad Trump is. And although coronavirus is something we need to stay updated on, I really don't want to hear about it all day long. So we're not going to talk about that any more than today. I'm not going to mention it again. We're going to talk a little bit about what has been going on with politics in response to that word I said I wasn't going to say, and kind of what's been happening. Again, I think probably everybody is following the news to some extent because it is important to follow when something like this is going on. You need to know we're seeing businesses close forcibly and not even necessarily by choice at this point. We've been asked to socially isolate. The next steps, obviously, we can only guess what's happening next. There's been a lot of rumors circulating, so it's really hard to say what really will happen next. Hopefully, we don't go to a full lockdown because that would be absolutely awful, I think, for just about everybody. And that would make it really hard on our first responders, law enforcement, and I think that might, I don't think it'll make it worse for doctors and nurses, but we do have to think about them too. But there are going to be some issues with the lockdown. We have people who, feel like that's a go ahead green light to go break into stores, break into houses. Now, what is a green light and what has happened in Pennsylvania, where I live, is that they've said, okay, we're not going to arrest you if you commit like a petty misdemeanor crime, which I think a lot of people, I understand the thinking behind it, that, a lot of people say, well, we can't overwhelm jails. People are going to get sick if there's like multiple people in jail, then they're going to get sick, get each other sick. That's bad. We can't confine people in a jail cell and get them all sick. That's fine, because that would be bad. I see why that's bad, but my response to that is, if they don't want to get sick and they don't want to get confined into a jail cell, they shouldn't commit a crime that's going to land them in a jail cell. Because at the end of the day, who's more important? Do we care more about protecting criminals, or do we care more about protecting regular everyday people who don't break the law? Because what happens is it's a green light. When you say, I'm not going to arrest you if you do this, go ahead. That's basically what you're saying is go ahead. Go do it, because you're not going to get in trouble. You can do whatever you want because you're not going to go to jail for it. We're not at that point. I kind of would argue that you're never at that point, because lawlessness is just dangerous for everybody. Criminals, people who are doing bad things, this is just a green light. They're going to say, okay, this means it's fine. I'm going to go do this. And people break the law anyway, and they don't care that things are happening. You don't give them a free pass just because there's a sickness out there that people are getting sick. You don't give criminals a free pass to go and do whatever they want. Because at the end of the day, it's not them we're trying to protect. We shouldn't be necessarily. And I'm not saying we should just let them, be on their own and not try to protect them from any sort of virus or anything. But, they should not come before regular people. They're criminals breaking the law. It's ridiculous. So that's happened in several states. I know that's not just happened in Pennsylvania. That's like a thing in California. I don't even think it has anything to do with what's going on right now. But yeah, we're seeing that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is how great Trump is doing. I didn't like his initial reactions at first, but I do think it was necessary. I think containment is definitely necessary early on to protect people, to stop and slow down spread. I think if we see this continue to progress, this containment continue to progress, I think we're going to have a real problem, because I think that's bigger than this issue. It is very similar. A lot of scientists have said this is very similar to the common flu. This is very similar to other things we've seen. It spreads pretty rapidly, but not really more rapidly than the flu, than any other regular flu. And it's not really that much more deadly. I heard that the flu's death rate is 1% and this is 4%. And so that would be a lot more deadly. But I heard really, really conflicting statements on that. Some people are saying it's not, it's actually less deadly than the flu. So it's really, really hard to say. At the end of the day, a lot of people have died, yes, but this isn't the sort of thing that's killing really healthy people or even young people in general. It's really more elderly people, people who already have some sort of autoimmune disease or something that prevents them from being able to fight off infection. So anyway, like I said, I promise we're not going to talk too much about that. So today we're going to get into it. We're going to, just for some laughs, we're going to get into a little Joe Biden video that I found. I thought it was really funny, so we're just going to go over it and talk about it for a little bit, because it's starting to look like Joe Biden is the front runner right now, like almost positive Bernie's not going to get the nomination. So I've been waiting for this moment. I mean, he's not going to win. I don't think that Bernie or Biden could possibly win the presidency. It depends a little bit on who they're going to have as their VP. But I really don't think there's any chance either one can win the presidency against Donald Trump. I think that they've kind of not been talking about this. Again, they were talking, about pretty much nothing but coronavirus on the news. But really, I don't think they want to talk about this, because I think it's like a Mitt Romney situation. And was that 2008 or 2012? I don't remember. 2012, I think, Romney. And I think it's kind of that situation. I think they've got a candidate and they've got enough people to back him that, okay, but he doesn't really have a chance. People aren't excited about Joe Biden. You know why they're not excited about him? Because he's super creepy. He's super, super weird. He doesn't even know what state he's in half the time. He has no idea what's going on. How can a man like that possibly run this country? I don't think he can. Let's take a look at the video real quick.
Happy New Year.
Why don't you just
Whoa. Very close.
Thank you all for your patience. Bring the whole family up. Come on, come on. Good to see you. Sally, how are you? You got a smile that lights up the whole Senate chamber. You're getting too old. You're getting too old and too lovely. Oh, here. Sherry, how are you? Nice to have you. You have very good taste. Good to see you, man. You have great taste. I'll tell you what, you've got very good taste.
Okay, hold on.
Have very good taste.
That's just, I get it. He's just an old guy, and I think he's a little out of touch. But that's really weird. That is really, really weird to say if you're a politician. That's something your creepy old grandpa says. And he is creepy old Grandpa Joe.
You're going to have to show how much money. What did I do with that Democrat? Okay. Ready?
Oh my gosh. Joe.
So tell me about you. How are you? Now, why don't you come over to my side?
He's not even subtle about it.
Come over this side. Come on this side. Come on, sis. You get right in there. You get right over there.
Her face.
Come on, Dad. There you go.
He's like grasping their hands.
26. It's not school. Too many beautiful girls. Excuse boys away from your sister. Just remember, no serious guys in your family. Is this your sister? You have a hard job. You got to keep the boys away from your sister. That's a deal. Just you have a hard job keeping the boys away from your sister.
Joe,
Like you have.
the photo is over.
Keep the boys.
You're talking to the family. Everybody has moved out of photo formation. Why are you still touching this girl?
My dad used to say you got one
Okay.
job.
Okay. Joe, this is something we've seen over and over again with Joe Biden. Not just the creepiness, is that he has these things that he says over and over and over again. Boys, you got one job. Sorry. My dad used to say, boys, you got one job. Keep the boys away from your sister. He said it like 8 different times just in this video. How often do you think he says that to people? And I get it, he's a politician, but this like weird, awkward conversation he makes is super uncomfortable. The people in these photos are so uncomfortable. That little boy that he just like grabbed and like pulled him to him to like take a picture and was like, your reputation's gonna be ruined after this. They're gonna say, what are you doing talking to a Democrat? Super creepy. That child is really, really uncomfortable. Don't touch him. Like, you know, he's getting in the picture. Just let him stand in front of his mom or his next to his brother, like whatever. Like, you don't need him to stand in front of you. That's really, really weird. This behavior is just very odd. These people are all here and they're all supporters of Joe if they're here. This was like a mock dinner something, they said. I don't know. But these people are all Joe Biden supporters that decided to come to this, whatever they were, to meet him and take a photo with him. So many of them are so uncomfortable by this, like so uncomfortable. And it's very awkward because it's the absolute opposite of, like, everybody in high school had those awkward prom or like homecoming photos where your date, like, you're taking pictures with your date that you don't really know, so their arm is like around you like this, and they're like touching you with like just their fingertips, or their hand is like this and stuff, you know, like everybody has those awkward photos. That's awkward. This is really, really uncomfortable and definitely borderline, if not inappropriate. It's super weird. It's super uncomfortable. But that's not the worst of Joe. We're going to take a look at one more video to really get the full Joe Biden effect today.
And go for it. And then there are hugs that keep going and going and going. Joe Biden wouldn't let Hillary go. They met on the tarmac at Scranton Airport. About 4 seconds into the hug, they semi-disengaged. Nothing to see here, right? Wrong, because the vice president wouldn't unhand Hillary for almost 16 seconds.
Okay. What is he doing? Nobody hugs that long. And she's talking to you. She's like out of the hug, talking like this. Your arms are still around her, holding her super close to you. And she's leaning back. Like, do you have no social cues at all? And I get, like, this is Hillary Clinton. This is somebody that you're like semi-associated with, semi-friendly with, and she's that uncomfortable. Well, hopefully you had some laughs. If not, at least I don't think it's possible for you to walk away from this without thinking Joe Biden is a total creep. I hope you think he is, because honestly, this is Joe Biden right here. These are the things he was doing before he was running for president and before he was going to be on stage in front of all of America. These are the things he was doing. And I think those are the things that are really quite telling about a person. The things he does when he thinks nobody's taking a video of him doing it or saying it, or, you know, coming in and sniffing your hair. And it's horribly creepy. And actually, that's the worst part, is some of these, he's posing for photos. You know you're being photographed doing it, and you're totally fine doing it, and you don't think it's weird and uncomfortable and awkward and inappropriate. I would be really, really disappointed if this man was the leader of our country, because the things he would do to it are much, much worse than uncomfortable sniffing and photo posing. If you enjoyed this episode, you can give me a thumbs up on YouTube, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and you can also check out my Instagram at right.this.way.